We're going to start the meeting of the Planning, Zoning, and Historical. Before I start, I wanted to ask Councilmember Syracuse a question. Is there anybody here from MDHA? No? Councilman Syracuse. Are you on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we've been waiting on having the latest version of the TOD to have our meeting here on planning dedicated to the TOD. It appears that you're ready to submit that to the Planning Commission for a meeting to discuss it?
No, it doesn't have to go back to Planning Commission.
Yeah, but we had made a commitment to the commissioners here and to the council. We were going to have a meeting about the TOD when it was ready. And so I just want to honor that commitment. Is it ready for that meeting to happen?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we could still have a meeting about it.
All right, so at the council meeting, I'm going to ask for a deferral so we can have that meeting, and I'm going to ask Mike Jemison to help us set up a meeting. Originally, council member Mendez was interested in having a meeting together. I don't know if that is still going to happen, but I want to honor the commitment I made to the council to have that meeting. And what I would like to have at that meeting is for people to come in and be able to ask questions. I still see that there is a lot of conversation going on and people have many questions, including me. So I think we need to flesh it out. And so that's going to be the objective of the meeting. All right. So we're going to start with the consent agenda. And I'm going to read the items that are on the consent. And once I'm done, if you guys want me to pull any items out, you let me know. Resolution. RS 2018-1321 by Bircher, Bedney, and Elrod. It declares surplus and approves the disposition of certain parcels of real property. RS 2018-1322 by Pridemore, Bircher, and others. There is a letter to approve. It authorizes the Director of Public Property to exercise an option agreement for the purchase of a flood-prone property located at 484 Canton Pass. Resolution RS 2018-1323 by O'Connell, Bedney, and others. It approves an amendment to the parking agreement between the Metro Traffic and Parking Commission and 511 Union Nashville, LLC for the use of up to 100 parking spaces for a fee in the library parking garage. BL 2018-1284 by Kendall, Birchin, and others. It authorizes the Metro Department of Water and Sewage Services to provide public water service improvements for Region Home proposed development as well as other existing properties in the area. There is a letter to approve. BL 2018-1285 by O'Connell, Bedney, and Elrod. It abandons a portion of alley number 572 right-of-way. BL 2018-1286 by Syracuse, Bedney, and Elrod. It abandons a portion of Cliffdale Road right-of-way. Those are the items on the consent agenda. Do I have a motion? Sorry, should I pull anything out of the consent agenda? No? Okay. So we have a motion. Do I have a second? All in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? All right. The last item that is not on the consent is BL 2018-1182. It changes 1.22 acres from R10 to OL zoning for a property located at 355 Bell Road, and this is by Council Lady Karen Johnson. She was here a minute ago. There is no letter to approve. She's somewhere here. This is the hill. I'm going to call for a short recess, and we'll reconvene shortly. What? BL 2018-1182. It changes 1.22 acres from R10 to OL zoning for the property located at 355 Bell Road.
Thank you, Chair Bedney. Committee members, I ask for your approval on this. As you have seen, there have been no emails, calls, nothing in opposition to this change. Many of you know that I am in tune with my community, and I would not push something that is not that my community does not support. My community supports this change overwhelmingly, and for that reason, I ask for your support. This particular property is on the main thoroughfare, and there are power lines on the property adjacent to it. And so there can be nothing built on the other side of it because there are power lines there. And so with that, I ask for your approval.
Councilmember Wieters.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Could I please request that the Planning Department staff provide some information as to whether this was approved or disapproved, and whether or not a policy change was contemplated that would, if it were disapproved, whether or not a policy was contemplated that would have potentially supported the zone change?
Sure. The Planning Commission recommended disapproval of the request as it wasn't consistent with the policy, which is a suburban neighborhood maintenance policy.
Excuse me, Councilmember Glover, we're having a meeting. We can hear you from here. Thank you. Yes.
There was some discussion in regards to whether or not a policy amendment to allow an office use would be appropriate. But given that this is located within a broader area of neighborhood maintenance, is somewhat separated from any other.
Excuse me. Councilmember O'Connell, we're trying to have a meeting. Can we just hold on for a minute until she can finish explaining this? Thank you.
Given the location within a broader, larger area of neighborhood maintenance, kind of central to a larger area of neighborhood maintenance, staff did not feel that we could support a policy amendment for any other policies that may support an office use, and so it was a recommendation of disapproval.
Thank you for that. I know we've had a couple, thank you for that explanation to staff. You know, we've had a couple of instances in which we have had zone change requests to allow businesses to operate in residential areas and residential policy areas. Sometimes there are overlays or things of that nature that can support that. We actually had one request in Council District 5 next to mine that had a wide outpouring of community support for it, but nevertheless that is contrary to policy, would have been to allow that particular zone change. And so I know I had a really difficult decision that time to not to support that instance of allowing an SP in that case for commercial use in a residential area, even though it had broad popular support. And for that reason, and in an effort to be consistent in that, I regretfully to the sponsor, I respect her work with the community in that, but in order to be consistent in that approach, I will be voting no for this particular zone change. Thank you.
Councilmember Mina Johnson. Oh, sorry, I turned you off. There.
Thank you, Chair. I have a question to the planning table. So since this is a straightforward zoning change, so from R10 to OL, any land use under OL will be allowed to operate other than the applicant tax preparation business. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So in that, under OL, so like institutional use, daycare, educational use, community education, office, cash advance, check cashing, title loan, medical use, assisted living, nursing home, outpatient clinic, recreation club. So all of those use are not, because of the straightforward zone change, it cannot be excluded. That is correct?
That's correct.
So I understand, that daycare is about a quarter mile. Community education is about quarter mile of this location. However, I'm a bit, concerned cash advance business or check cashing type loan will be appropriate, even though it's in the end of the residential zoned area. But there's if existing property owner decided to sell this property, new property owner can occupy that property, and under this new zoning, they can operate those kind of business by right. For that, I have a great concern. There's nothing against the sponsor, but just as far as policy-wise, zoning decision-wise, I'm having a hard time supporting this zone change.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson, Karen Johnson.
Thank you. I understand the concerns. However, one size does not fit all. We're not East Nashville. We're not West Nashville. We're not other areas. This is Southeast Nashville. My neighbors and I met with the planning folks at the community meeting. I did not do this without planning being at the community meeting, and that was discussed with all of the neighbors, and they do not want a policy change, but they support this change. Why? Because directly across the street is a daycare, is a church, is another house that has been converted into an insurance company. There's another house that has been converted into a daycare, which the lady who just won School Board District 6, Fran Bush, is the owner of the daycare in the house that is almost adjacent to this across the street. So the houses there are operating as office limited, directly across from this one in this main thoroughfare of Bell Road. Additionally, the cat clinic is also across the street, and it is office limited. And that operated as a house, and then the cat clinic moved from the insurance company house next door to that house, and it became the cat clinic. Where the cat clinic used to be became an insurance company. We know our area. I ask for the courtesy of you all supporting me and my community. There has been no opposition to this change at all. No emails, no phone calls, no nothing. And I'm asking you to support me because many of you all have had disapproved bills by the Planning Commission, and I have supported you. So I ask for your support in this change because that is what my community wants, and it's consistent along that thoroughfare. Thank you.
Well, there is a lot of people on the queue. Councilmember Scott Davis.
I stand in support, and thank you, Chair, for letting me speak, even though I'm not on this committee. I stand in support with the council lady from South Nashville. Once again, no community opposition. And she knows her neighborhood, and her community knows her neighborhood. We love our planning department. We love our commissioners. And, you know, sometimes we have to agree to disagree. That's why we're the legislative body. I stand firmly, and I encourage you all to stand with Council Lady Karen Johnson on this matter. Thank you. I appreciate everything.
Thank you. Councilmember Brett Wieters.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's my understanding, and I'm going to ask planning staff if they can provide more information about this if they're able to do that, but it's my understanding that churches and daycares are uses that are permitted in residential zoning as a special exception. So those are consistent with residential zoning, whereas office uses are not. And so if that is true or not, please let me know. And then if the staff can also speak to the matter of other businesses that have been operating out of houses. I mean, if that is true, I'd be interested in knowing how they were permitted or zoned, because that would be pertinent information to this discussion. Thank you.
Daycares and religious institutions are allowed with the issuance of a special exception through the Board of Zoning Appeals within residential zoning districts. So those are a permitted land use. In regards to other uses that may be operating out of business, out of homes, I don't have permit information with me, so I can't confirm that.
However, is it accurate to state that those nearby addresses or adjacent addresses, are there commercially zoned addresses adjacent to, I would say, or within a parcel or two of these particular parcels, of the parcel in question?
There's commercial zoning further south where Bell Road intersects with Murfreesboro Pike. The zoning immediately adjacent to this property is R10, and across the street, a residential PUD.
Thank you.
That's it? All right. Council Lady Sharon Hurt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to know if there's someone living in the property now. Is it now serving as a residential home? Because I think the reference for the property that was in District 5, the person was still living there, and I just wanted to know if it were different.
Thank you for that question. There is no one living at that residence. And the next door neighbor came to the public hearing and stated that he was in support of the change.
Okay, the last person on the queue is Councilmember Hager.
I guess next to Ed Kendall, I'm the ninth generation Nashvilleian here, so I've probably been here longer than everybody except Mr. Kendall. But I know this area very well, and I stand in support of this zone change. I used to run through there all the time when I was younger, and there's just not a lot through there, and the businesses are right up the road. I don't like to go against planning. I think they're great. They do a great job. I understand what they're trying to do. But at the same time, I know this area very, very well, and I think it goes in line with what should be through there altogether. In my opinion, I think everything through there should be either OL or office commercial. That's just my opinion. But I stand in support of this bill.
All right, do we have a motion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Oppose? So we have, can I get you guys to raise your hand? If you are in opposition, raise your hand. All right, Councilmember Withers. If you're in favor, raise your hand. Well, thank you. That is the end of the meeting. And you want to talk? Or you just raise your hand? All right, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.